My strength shall bring resolution, and my lightning, illumination!
Yo, what is good, Bleach community? It's your boy Storm. Today I'm going over a tier list for Bleach Rebirth of Souls. I'll basically be going over each character and why they belong in the tier that they belong in, kind of giving like a brief explanation as to why they are in that tier. Now, just remember guys, this is my own personal opinion, so if you do disagree, go into them comment sections. Let me know how you feel the way you feel, but for sure, let's hop right into it. So our first character on the list is Komamura. So Komamura has received a couple buffs in the last patch. He is now able to combo off his 6th skill, which is actually a very good buff, but unfortunately they did choose to nerf this character. He can no longer combo off of his special flash attack. It knocks people away, and the unfortunate thing about this is it kind of puts them in a situation where you can't really do much unless you have your 6th skill active. You can do something like this, but at the end of the day, you really want to save your 6th skill for like range poke, or for you to be able to like end it off with a combo by doing something like heavy into Sig. So that's like one of the negatives that they kind of gave Komamura. He can also combo off of his grab now, but the reason why I'm talking about his pluses is because he doesn't have many. This character is a big Bankai type of character, and unfortunately they just kind of continue to nerf the big Bankais. It's also another thing too, as time has gone on, people have gotten a bit more comfortable with dealing with these kind of characters. Looking at some of his like normal moves, his quick attack isn't really that great. I mean, it has decent range to it, and his heavy has decent range, but this character is kind of slow. He doesn't have a good sidestep. His sidestep is pretty slow. His back steps are pretty slow. He can't really act out of it too fast like other characters are able to. He does have a pretty good dash attack, but those are about the kind of positives of this character. All in all, he's a big Bankai character. You want to take you want to take 2 Kenpaku, right? You want to do 2 Keycon moves before you're able to go into big Bankai, and that's the problem. This character requires you to have to 3 Keycon every single time, and that's really not good in this game. You want to be able to always be able to 2-piece someone at the very least, because this game is very dependent on how many stocks you can take, and big Bankai characters just honestly suffer the most. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put this character in the D tier. So going on to our next character is Kira. So Kira is a specific case. He is the only character in the game who can force a Keycon move at any health point. Now, the thing about this is that gimmick alone is good, but it's not enough to make this character better than B tier. The reason why I say that is because Kira's base kit is not that good. If I just show some general movement on, look at this abysmal sidestep. His sidestep is not good. He does have a pretty decent backstep, and when he is in Awakening, his heavy attack is really good, which is a plus for this character. I will say that that is something that he does have over most people, is that his heavy goes a pretty good distance. That's like Kaien level of distance with the heavy attack. So, and this is why you see a lot of people do like the backstep into heavy, because it is one of his best tools. But this character's gimmick is too much. Having to build up Wabiske to the point where it's actually usable, where you can hit your SP1 and then go into SP2, honestly, it's not worth it. It's like you have to work very hard for this character to work. Like I said before, he has pretty good normals. His heavy is okay. He does have a pretty good quick attack, but his special flash isn't really the best. His whole thing with Tenzo Raiden, it just is not good. Like, you can choose to pull people in, you can choose to do the damage, but this character relies too much on gimmicks and things that other characters just don't need. You know, you have characters in this game who have 6 pieces and damage and plus frames, and really what Kira has is a really good gimmick with some decent normals, but that's all he really has. You know, if you know how to play against this, if you know the counter play when he does his SP2, if you know to sidestep it and flash step it, you're fine. You know, so overall, that's why I would say that Kira is a B tier character. You have to work hard to get this gimmick off, but at base the gimmick already is kind of mid. So yeah, that's just my basic reasoning. So unfortunately, I know the Kira mains want him to be good, but this character, man, he has to go down in B with with Komamura. So going on to our next character is our first A+ tier, and that's Soul Society Ichigo. Now, I'm not gonna lie, y'all guys, they buffed this character a lot, and he is very good. Now, some of the reasons why this character is A+ in my opinion is because going against most of the other cast, this character just has some benefits that they do not have. So Soul Society Ichigo's white reverse, right? His reverse gauge is always going to be white. The reason why that is good is because his white reverse is a mechanic that's specific to him. It lasts longer, it gives him more speed, it gives him more damage, and it lets him take one extra Kenpaku stock. So usually in this moment, you aren't able to take 3, but you can take 3 because he's able to add 1 to his stock meter, which is very good. There are situations with this character where you can force situations like being able to take 5 Kenpaku early on or 4 Kenpaku early on and really put your opponent at a disadvantage. On top of that, because white reverse lasts longer than everybody else's reverse, he gains more health during that time. During this whole time he's in white reverse, he's faster, stronger, but also gains more health. This is a benefit that other characters just simply do not have. They are also lacking out in the speed department. This character feels kind of like a cheat code when he is in white reverse because he has more speed than everybody in the cast. His damage is disgusting. I mean, look at that heavy chain, just did almost like a fourth of Ichigo's health. The benefits that he get from his mechanic alone, Kira wishes that he could have. On top of that, Soul Society Ichigo has a very good DP that does a respectable amount of damage. In his white reverse, he also gets a ranged projectile, which is pretty good. It also does some decent damage that can be done at the end of combos, so that's actually pretty good. And one of the best things now about this Ichigo is that when you white reverse in his Bankai state, right, he gets his Hollow Mask. The reason why that's very good is because now he is able to combo his SP1 super over and over. So if you do any chain into SP1, this character can dash up and basically do anything he wants. Because white reverse gives you all this extra health, damage, and speed and everything, you basically are, honestly, you can argue that while he is in this state, he is one of the best characters in the game. The reason why I put him A+ and not S is because I do think he has a poor matchup to some of the other stronger characters in the game. There's not many, there's probably 1 or 2, but he does kind of suffer against certain other characters. Though another benefit of this character is that when he flash steps, he can act out of his flash steps faster than every other character can. It seems to be just a mechanic that's specific to Ichigo in general. But yeah, that's just some of the reasons why this character is A+. He's able to have an on-demand 5-piece if he needs to. He has very fast normals. His heavy attack is very fast. His quick attack has good range on it, and his special attack is kind of like one of the best in the game. He can do some nasty stuff like this, kind of mix a grab in between or backstep, bait something out, go back in. He just has very great movement with good normals and a very good mechanic. So that's the reason why I would have put this character in A+. So this Ichigo is insane, y'all. If y'all haven't tried him out, definitely try him out. But yeah, let's go on to the next character. So going on to our next character is Bankai Ichigo. Now this character has received severe nerfs. They've nerfed almost every part of his kit, which is surprising. I understand he was one of the best characters in the game pre-patch, but this character is not good anymore. He honestly, I was really tempted to put him in the lowest tier in B tier, but I do think he has some things that are positive about him. He does have decent range on his quick and his heavy attack. He does, at the end of the day, have a pretty good projectile that he can essentially spam if he chooses to, but his nerfs greatly affected him. So talk about fall from grace. This character went from one of the best to being, honestly, might be bottom 5 or like bottom 6. But some of the reasons why he's not as good as he used to be is because his special flash attack has been changed so that it is not safe on block. When you block his quick attacks, it pushes the opponent away from you, so you can't really stagger your quick attacks the way that you want to. His Getsugo aura just gets depleted very fast. Like, it depletes so fast, it's not even funny. This character used to be very good, but they basically made him a former shell of himself. And honestly, to pour some salt in the wound, when you go awakening with him, he actually becomes an even worse character, if you can believe that. When you go for grab as Vasto Lorde, you can't do anything. You used to be able to Hakugeki after grab, but you can't do that. You can't orange reverse. There's so many problems that this character has. He does have some decent dash speed from what I'm seeing. That's an insane backstep from what I'm seeing, but his special flash attack isn't good. His Serral is okay, but he can't even orange reverse that. This character has huge problems, and if you guys haven't seen it already, Six Shot did an amazing video and a breakdown on some of the changes you can do for Bankai Ichigo and really help this character out. I know a lot of people aren't really a fan of him because of how good he was, but it is kind of a shame that they nerfed him that much and then buffed other characters way more. But yeah, going to the tier list, I think I'm gonna officially put Bankai Ichigo to like maybe A-. I think he kind of fits this tier. This is like the rough tier of like, you can still put some work in with this character, but you have to honestly try a lot to really get a win with them. And I think Bankai Ichigo really falls into that. So yeah. All right, so going on to the next character, Dangai Ichigo. So Dangai Ichigo, I can confidently say that this character is probably A-. I know some people think that he is one of the worst characters in the game, and I can see why they would feel like that. Now, level 1 Dangai is not good at all. This character has to basically do a lot to get to where he wants to be. Every single time that you take a Keycon with this character, he becomes a stronger character, eventually becoming a S-tier character in my opinion. The problem is getting out of level 1. And the thing about Dangai is, the better you are as a player in this game, the better you understand the fundamentals of sidestepping and baiting out grabs and, you know, using your movement to your advantage, the better that you will be playing this character. Dangai has the longest range in the game when it comes to just standing normals. He starts off like this too. His range doesn't get better as he levels up. He literally will always have one of the best heavies at base. So if you can make sure that you are using his superior movement, his good normals, and kind of lackluster supers, but you know, taking whatever damage you can at the right moments, you can make this character work. Again, he rewards good fundamentals, and he's as good as a good player that you are. If you're a decent to mid player, you're not gonna really shine with him. If you're one of the best players in this game and you really understand like spacing and things like that, this character is a menace. Now, is he one of the best? No, he's not, but he can definitely do a couple things that other characters cannot, which is why I will say that Dangai Ichigo sits comfortably in probably A- right next to Bankai Ichigo. Now, sitting on the opposite side of the tier list, we have Yamamoto. Yamamoto, y'all, is insane. This character does so much. Now, as a quick breakdown on what this character can do, he has a lot of just raw damage. He has a DP super, so his super is invulnerable and it starts a combo, right? So that's just generally insane on itself. This character also has basically a mechanic that really isn't a detriment to him. The whole heat meter thing that he has to watch out for can be managed by knowing what to do at the right moments. And what I mean by that is, right, you just don't want to sit here and spam special flash attack all day. You just don't want to spam 6 skill all day. You have to honestly have very good meter management to make this character be one of the best characters in the game. But once you learn how to do that, he 100% is one of the best characters in the game. Again, having a DP super, superior normals, and just top tier damage, this character is honestly a cheat code, and they buffed him and made him even stronger. Now, the things that they buffed on him to make this character stronger is pretty stupid, I'm not gonna lie. He can now combo off of his special flash attack. And the reason why that is strong, right, very strong, is this move right here, right, is essentially his dash. He doesn't have a regular dash like anybody else does. He only has like very good back steps and dash forwards and side steps. But this move here right here is insane. He can start combos with it. It goes right into his light combos, which reduces his heat meter. And you can't sidestep this move. So if Ichigo tries to sidestep this move, the side, like, it kind of like tracks them. It's honestly pretty stupid on what they did with this character. And the other thing too, right? if this character goes into his heat meter, right, the hellfire, right, you see how I'm burning? In this state, your health goes down. If he happens to hit a Keycon move, the buff that they gave him in patch 1.10 is that his heat meter goes back down to 0 if he hits a Keycon move, or if he's hit by a Keycon move. So you can kind of like manipulate the meter in many different ways and make this character like insane, you know, plus frames, DP supers, damage. What doesn't Yamamoto have? I think that they went too far with buffing this character, and because they buffed him and he was already very strong, Yamamoto sits comfortably at S tier. So going on to our next character is Chad. So Chad is interesting because they kind of changed how Chad works with his whole 6 skill and how they want you to play him. They basically changed the playstyle from kind of revolving around the 6 skill to making him be a character that works without really having to use the 6 skill per se. They also made it so that his special flash attack can be comboed with his heavies just like that on screen. It's actually very good what Chad can do. If you happen to block this move or get hit by it, he can always cancel it into SP1, which is very good because it makes basically a skipping neutral tool safe on block. And you can, instead of just like, let's say they blocked it and you go into SP1, you can then go in for like a grab. And now that's another thing too, Chad can also combo off of his grab. So this character does a lot of damage. He has one of the best movement in the game. He has one of the best dash attacks in the game, and his he now has great combos too because you're able to link your special flash into heavies, right? So there's just a lot of things going in Chad's favor. I will say that he does suffer from not having some of the best normals. His heavy is actually very good. The heavy goes very far. There's times where you feel like you might be safe within range from Chad, and then the heavy catches you. So that is one thing to be wary of. And it's one thing that makes the character good. And you know, with all of these pluses, I will say that Chad honestly goes up from where I had him before, and I can confidently say that Chad goes into the A tier. I don't think he goes into the A plus. That tier is reserved for some of the better characters in the game, but I will say that Chad is on that upper echelon of A, and he is like a threat that you need to watch out for. All right, so going on to the next character is Yoruichi. So Yoruichi received some pretty good buffs in the previous patch. She is able to continue a combo after using her unblockable move, which is actually very good when it comes to like opening up opponents up who are blocking a lot. They also buffed her Ankin. So Yoruichi actually, which is funny because she's an infighter, she has one of the best projectiles in the game. Ankin is a low damaging but fast projectile that comes out very, very, very fast. You can sidestep it, but the thing about it is Yoruichi can track the sidestep and continue to throw Ankins, which is very good. This hits most characters when it comes to like this distance. Some characters are able to kind of out projectile her with their own toolkit, but Ankin in itself is a very strong move, and I think that alone makes her kind of decent to good. On top of that, Yoruichi has some of the best Oki setups where she can, like, after doing Ankin, she can go for a grab here. She can go with a bait with like a backstep into an attack. Like, there's so many different things you can do with this character. Her super moves are pretty good as well. She has a very high damaging SP1. Her SP2 is a counter that works on projectiles, and she also has a 6 skill that, if used timed correctly, you can open your opponent and do some pretty cheeky stuff. The only downside to this character is she does not do a lot of damage. So while she is kind of like, I would say, your typical hit and run, fast, get in real quick, bait kind of character, she benefits from her speed, yes, but she also takes a lot of damage, and she doesn't put out a lot of damage unless you get those raw supers, right? So she is a high risk, kind of like, not high risk, medium risk, high reward character. If you can master her, I would say that, you know, you have yourself a pretty good main here. This is coming from me. I play her a lot, and I really do understand the kind of the more intricate things of her kit. But I would confidently say that Yoruichi kind of floats around, maybe, to be real with you guys, I would say she floats around A. But the thing about her is, some people might say she's A-, but I do think she's better than the characters in the A- tier. She probably floats around A, to be real with you. Not being able to do damage until you get the Spirit Drive and Awakening is just kind of really bad. That downside alone is just like not the best. And when compared to other characters who do a lot of damage, it's kind of like, wow, you know, she could end up losing a game just off of purely not having enough damage. So that's definitely a negative in her favor, and I think she definitely fits the A tier because of it. So going on to the next character is Urahara. Now, Urahara is a character who I personally call a jack of all trades. I think he has a little bit of everything in this game, with him having a counter, a projectile, kind of decent normals. His heavy kind of goes decently far, and his quick attack is somewhat okay, I would say. It doesn't really have much range on it. But really where this character shines is when he uses his SP2, he becomes faster, so his dash speed is insane. His range is better, and he has, like, honestly one of the better combos in the game, being able to connect all of his lights and all of his heavies into his SP1. Now the problem with this character is there was an basically system-wide change where they just generally reduced how much SP meter that you gain mid combo. Now the reason why this is really bad for Urahara is because he was a combo character who relied on having his SP meter high and being able to, like, basically do insane combos because of it. Now you used to be able to do something like SP2 and then build up a lot of your meter, but if you see here, I'm doing the full light chain, but the meter isn't going up by much. If I continue to do lights over and over, you do not gain meter. And the thing about Urahara is he wants meter because he's able to connect his heavies into his supers and continue the combo and go crazy. So because they nerfed that, and that system-wide change in general just got implemented, it hits certain characters who really relied on having a lot of SP generation. So overall, while they did buff Urahara, you know, they did things like give him a counter projectile, you know, and he's able to combo off of that. Some of the things, you know, like those system mechanics really kind of messed him up and kind of knocked him down on my own personal tier list. This character used to, in my opinion, be like a solid A tier character, and to be real with you guys, he still is A. I'm gonna be real with you guys, he still is A tier. I'm gonna place him there, but he's kind of like on the weaker side of A, I would say. Probably something like probably somewhere around like at the end of the A tier. I wouldn't necessarily say he's A minus, because he still has some good tools in his kit, but he probably floats, you know, somewhere at the end of A. All right, so going on to our next character, we have Shinji, one of the best themes in the game too, by the way. But this character basically got super buffed. He basically has something like Toshiro has, so you can do heavies into your SP1 and it connects. You can dash up, do your special flash, and you can link that over and over. I think this combo alone makes Shinji A tier at the very least. He's able to basically chain his SP1 over and over. He has insane damage whenever he's doing his, like, any of the release form moves, in his SP2 move as well. He just does so much damage that this character, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, Shinji, the problem is that his counter isn't one of the best, right? He suffers from not having a good counter. He does have decent normals. His quick leaves you like next to him. He can like chain the quick over and over and go for like different like setups, like for grabs, or dash up and do like special flash attack. There's a lot of cool things that this character can do, but above all else, that buff that they gave him where he's able to connect his heavies into SP1 is one of the craziest things that they've done for this character, and that alone makes him pretty good. You know, he does have decent movement. His backstep and side steps are pretty good. They don't go far, but they serve him. You know, they're decent enough to make him, you know, a pretty good character. So all in all, I would roughly say that Shinji kind of floats around the A tier. So going on to the next character is Rukia. So Rukia basically got some pretty cool things. She's able to combo off of her special flash attack now. Before, this move was just a move that you can use to like just get in, and then you would go for like 6 skill stuff, maybe the charge sig, or maybe go for like a grab or something. But being able to now combo off of her special flash has opened up her combos to basically some crazy stuff. You can do some nasty, disgusting stuff with this character now. It's actually insane. I think that overall she is probably going to be like a decent to mid character because of the changes. The Rukia's biggest problem is that she doesn't do a lot of damage, and her heavy attack doesn't have much range. This is abysmal. There are quick attacks, I believe, that actually might be able to outrange this heavy. But the cool thing about her heavy is that it does hit all around you. So if you feel like someone might try to flash step on you, you could just heavy, which is actually very good that she has that. But when she goes awaken is really when a lot of her combos open up for her. You can do things like charge 6 skill into fully charge SP2, you know, then you go into special flash attack. Insane. You can do some really cool stuff with this character, continue the combo again, or I could have done like charge sig, dash up, you know, you do the charge sig again, dash up. Like, she has a lot of like loops and kind of like cool things like that now. And when you do obviously get her to spirit drop, she has pretty decent damage. But again, her damage is where she's kind of lackluster. But between all the mixes she can do with kind of throwing out special flash attack and going for grabs after her, or, you know, mixing, you know, your heavies and your back steps, because she has a pretty good back step. She has pretty good like dash speed, things like that. So this character can be cooked. You can cook with her, but I do think that you have to work harder for her game plan compared to other characters who are either in her tier or higher than her. So because of that, I will say that Rukia is kind of, I would say she floats around maybe A-. She needs to, I don't know, Rukia is kind of tricky. I think she probably does float around A- because her game plan, she needs to force her game plan onto the opponent. If they know what she wants to go for, they can sidestep a lot. They could snuff out her small normals, because her normals are terrible. She doesn't really have good normals. So I will say that Rukia kind of floats around maybe A tier or like A- tier. So going on to the next character is Renji. So Renji got, I would say he got overall nerfed. He can do cool things now, like doing his 6 skill and connecting it into special flash. That's something he couldn't do before. But the nerf that they gave him is that his special flash is now not plus. So if he happens to throw the special flash attack out, you can punish him for doing that, which I think is pretty big, because some people think, oh, well, he has a very good 6 skill, very good 6 skill. Yeah, it is good, but if you just block it, or if you try to flash step it, it's honestly one of the easiest things to flash step and get around. Other than that, this character doesn't really have some of the best like attacks. I would say his quick actually seems to be pretty decent. But his heavy is not that good at all. He doesn't really have good movement per se. One of his best tools got nerfed pretty bad, and I would say that his 6 skill, while it is good and it has good range on it, though, again, it's honestly it's pretty fodder for like flash steps and characters who have counters. And another thing about Renji is that because he is a big Bankai character, he is a bit reliant on that. Now, the problem with nerfing the base form of the big Bankai characters is that these characters need to always 3-piece you so that they can win. They can never 2-piece you. And this was the same problem that Komamura has, is that Renji needs to take a 3-piece and then a 2-piece, or 2 3-pieces in order to win, right? There's no way that now that we're a couple months into the game that people don't know how to deal with big Bankais. Big Bankais are easy to deal with now. You know, it's been a while now. Most of the community knows the counterplay against those type of characters, and because of that, these big Bankai characters kind of suffer for that. And because of that, I will say that Renji probably he probably will float around maybe B tier. I could see an argument for him maybe being A. Same for Komamura, but I will confidently say for now that Renji is a B tier character. So going on to our next character is Soifon. Now, Soifon is an interesting case because they did nerf kind of like her combo potential and basically how much she can use Anken in the middle of a combo, but she is still a good character. Special flash attack is still one of the best moves in the game. Honestly, it's a very good neutral skip, lets you get close to your opponent pretty fast, and you can make it safe by throwing an Anken out, which you can then choose to like backstep, going for a grab. She does have some of the best pressure in the game. When she's hitting you, she can mix grabs in between after Ankens. And one of the honestly better things about this character is because she's so fast and she's able to get in and out and approach you the way that she wants, she generally controls basically the pace of the game, I would say. It's also pretty helpful that this character has a 6-piece. When Soifon gets into sublimation, she uses her Bankai and she's able to take 6 key cons away from you, right? 6 Kenpachi away from you. And that's actually very good. Now, the thing about her though is because she doesn't do much damage, she kind of builds the character's fighting spirit up pretty fast. So that's a negative thing for Soifon. She generally builds the enemy's spirit pretty fast. And then on top of that, she doesn't really do much damage unless she's ending combos off with her SP2, which is respectable and it is a good combo ender. So on top of the things that I've already mentioned, I think this character is pretty good. She has decent speed. She has a good grab speed. She also has this good tech where she can like dash in and then grab right away, because her dash attack kind of has like these like really good end frames on it where you can just throw out a grab right after. So she has some good pluses to her. She does have a mechanic where if you charge your SP1, you know, you can do the 2-tap Suzume Bachi, but you won't really get to use that in a fight. A good player will know that that's coming and either choose to like flash step it or something. So that's not really something you can do. Like you can honestly just use, but overall this character is, I would say, a solid maybe A tier, you know? So yeah, kind of floating around there. I do think she kind of like, she can hang with some of these characters up here. Her 6-piece alone saves her, I will say. If you can take a 6-piece in this game, you are not under A tier at all. Like if you can take a 6, you are at least mid, right? Because 6s are very good. You know, all Soifon has to do is take a 3 and then go for the 6-piece soul break, or try to soul break you, right, in regular awakening, and then go for the 6-piece red keycon move. So it's just like this character has options on what she wants to do. Okay, going on to the next character is Byakuya. Now Byakuya actually is one of the better characters in the game in my opinion. He has one of the best normals. So his quick attack comes out pretty fast in awakening. His heavy has crazy range on it. Like that range is ridiculous. His 6 skill can hit you from anywhere on the map, so that is one thing that you have to watch out for. He is one of those characters where it doesn't matter where you are, he can always try to hit you if he can. His special flash attack can be canceled, and it has some decent range on it, so you are able to kind of catch people at a respectable range with that if you choose not to go for your 6 skill. And he has good kind of like movement as well. His sidestep, backstep, and dash forward is pretty well. Overall, this character is honestly very strong. He has strong combos, strong range. He's the only character who, after a Hakugeki, he can like Hakugeki, like while the opponent is in the red, he's able to connect with his 6 skill and then go into SP1. So that's actually very good. Not many characters, I think, if any, can do something similar to that. They always have to spend some kind of resource, you know, they have to always spend some kind of like reverse gauge. The only negatives I'll say about Byakuya is that he is kind of like flash step fodder, you know, with his attacks, because they cover so much range. You know what this character is going to do sometimes, so that is easy to just flash step. But the problem with that is this character also catches flash steps pretty well. He has a very good dash attack that hits in all directions. So if someone happens to flash step behind you for whatever reason, and he's in an animation of sidestepping or anything like that, he can throw out his attack and it's going to hit them from behind, and he's able to get a combo off of that. The other weak thing about this character is that in his base form, he isn't the best. He kind of loses some of his range because his sword attack is not that good. His quicks is not that good, I mean, and his heavy is kind of decent. But overall, this character is good. He has good range, he has good damage, he has good supers. SP2 is a very strong counter. SP1 is a super that can hit you from anywhere, so it doesn't matter when he uses it. So honestly, Byakuya is a solid character, and I would honestly confidently place him maybe in the A+ tier next to Soul Society Ichigo. Now going on to one of the biggest winners of patch 1.10 is Shunsui. Shunsui is honestly one of the best characters now when it comes to just like who just basically got a buff. Kind of like Shinji, they gave him a lot of sauce. He's able to cancel his SP his special flash attack, I mean, and step into anything. So he's able to do back steps off that. He's able to dash forward and do a lot of kind of like cool baits with that. He can do side steps off of it, so that's pretty good. This character also got buffed on his range. I believe his quick attack also has good range on it now, which is crazy. Look at that. That has some crazy good range on his quick attack. I believe it even hits if he swings from right there off of hitting the special flash. The only thing I would say about Shunsui, which kind of is a negative about him, is that this character doesn't really have a good grab speed. As you can see, he has like, if you were to hold grab, there's like a lot of lag on when he chooses to, you know, do the dash in. So that is one thing to watch out for. He does kind of suffer when it comes to like trying to chase down people's side steps and stuff. He does have one of the best SIGs in the game though, that can completely ignore projectiles and start a combo. Again, guys, you do know one thing about Shunsui is that his games, right? His games can go against him. Right now, we're playing tag, and Shunsui mains know. You guys know, if you're playing a Shunsui, you can turn those games on him, right? You can turn taking a whole bunch of damage on the opponent, and they just have to deal with what comes with that. So that is one thing to say about him. If you are choosing to do like a dash in or some kind of like grab or something like that, you do have to be careful because he doesn't have the best dash speed or grab speed. But to make up for that, they did give him a pretty good special flash attack and good kind of like sidestep, backstep, and forward movement. So if you play to those strengths, Shunsui is very good. His combo potential is also very good. He does decent damage with something like, you know, you do heavy light into SP1, and that's something that he can do over and over, right? His SP2 does respectable damage as well. So this character, all in all, is on paper one of the better characters in the game, but his games can be turned on him, which is why I personally place Shunsui kind of like in the A tier. I don't think he can generally go up to the Soul Society Ichigo and Byakuya tier yet, because while he does have the damage and he does have the range for it, he does lack in movement speed and his gimmick honestly working against him at times. All right, so going on to our next character is Hisagi. So Hisagi is one of the big winners of patch 1.10. They buffed his fear meter. Basically, he builds it up every time he uses a super. So whether he uses SP1 or SP2, he builds up that fear meter. Now, his only downside, I would say, is that while he is in base, you kind of want to make use of the fact that he isn't as strong as he is in evolution. So it's kind of similar to how Byakuya is, where, you know, his base form is nowhere near as good as his evolution. But as soon as this character gets to evolution, I think that he starts to cook. So, you know, on top of having a 6-piece Kenpaku, right? He's able to take 6 Kenpaku away from an opponent. He also has very good range. Now, Hisagi does one of the best damage in the game because he's able to link some of his supers together. He could do something like heavy light into heavies, right? He could go right back into his SP1 and continue the combo over and over. That combo alone just did, what was that, like 70% of the opponent's health, and it's not hard to do. You know, this character gets rewarded for being beat. Every time you take Kenpaku away from Hisagi, you raise his fear meter. Every time he uses his super, you raise his fear meter, right? So this character essentially punishes the opponent for beating him. He gets stronger. Now, I will say the other downside to this character is because the heavy only reaches in that kind of like mid-range distance, you can kind of abuse the fact that this character, when he's close up on you, like when you're close up on him, you can kind of like rush him down and make sure he doesn't really control the pace of the game. But even still, Hisagi is a great character. He has Tenron. Tenron is insane. Look at that. I mean, at max full, it's at max fear meter, it's one of the best ranged attacks in the game. He has crazy combos, right? He can combo off of his SP2. He has a 6-piece, right? As you can see, if you look up at Ichigo's health, right, the orange is how much Kenpaku that Hisagi could take. If I were to just do a regular combo and end it off, and this is while Ichigo is in the white, right? He's not even in soul break territory or anything. I'm gonna take 5. That's how strong this character is, and it's super easy to build up his fear meter. You know, so I will say overall, if you know how to play this character optimally and you know not to just throw out your special flash attack because it is unsafe, right? You you honestly are playing one of the best characters in the game, and you can really cook with him. Like he is honestly insane, and I know I'm not bugging when I place this character all the way up in A+ tier. The reason why I don't think he's an S is because you can abuse the fact that he isn't good in base, and it does take him a while to get his fear meter. But once he gets his fear, he is undoubtedly top 5 in the game. So going on to the next character is Ikkaku. So this character got nerfed pretty hard. They nerfed his special flash attack, and they also nerfed basically how much that he charges his Ryumon gauge. So the problem with that is he's one of the characters who could do a 6-piece, but it takes forever for him to build up this gauge now. So every time Ikkaku gets hit and every time he hits, he gets this meter at the bottom. But now they basically kind of nerfed how fast that charges, and he is not as good anymore. That mixed with the fact that he lost the invulnerability on his special flash attack means that this character just kind of lost some of the best tools that he has. He still has crazy guard pressure. He can still go into his stances and put out all that guard break, right? But they also buff guards. It's way harder to break guards in this game now. So it's kind of like 3 things, this boom, 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 hit this character and really made him feel worse. Overall, Ikkaku is still a great character. He has great normals, especially in his Bankai. He has a 6-piece. Unfortunately, he needs to charge it up though. So he has probably one of the worst 6-pieces in the game. He has great supers. He has really good like pressure because of his stances. Honestly, this character, it was low-key a top meta pick pre-patch, and now I would say he kind of floats around maybe I don't know. I'm kind of struggling on where I should put Ikkaku. I feel like he kind of deserves to be in like that A-ish tier, but there is reason to believe that he is an A-, but he does have a 6-piece, and because he has a 6-piece, and if he specifically tries to fill that gauge, he can still get it off. So I'm gonna put Ikkaku in A tier just for the simple fact that he has really good pressure, and his 6-piece is still attainable. He just has to work harder for it. So that's unfortunate for the character, but yeah. Next up is Captain of Squad 10, Toshiro Hitsugaya. So this character received nothing but buffs, and he is eating really good now because of those buffs. Toshiro was already a pretty good character. He had great movement, he had great grabs. His normals are stubby, but it doesn't really matter when you can do some of the best damage in the game. It's actually insane what this character can pull off when it comes to just damage. He has the loops. You know, everybody knows the regular SP1 loops is actually pretty stupid what this character can do. This alone just does so much damage. The only downside I would say this character has is that because he is like his normals are stubby, right? Because his normals are stubby and he kind of dies pretty quickly, he takes a lot of damage. Some of the higher tier characters can kind of snuff him out from what he can do. Like for example, if I were to try to attack 1000-Year Blood War Ichigo here, he'll be able to snuff me out because my normals are stubby. But what makes up for that is how fast this character is, and his speed, his damage, what he can do with his SP1, what he can do with his SP2, the combos, like it's insane what this character can pull off. And because of that damage, speed, and just general mix-ups he can do with his like projectiles and just sidestepping and stuff like that, this character, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I don't know if y'all agree with me on this one, but I'm putting Hitsugaya in A+. It does feel like, why does he belong there when looking at other characters? But if we look at these other characters in this list, I think he has a favorable matchup against everyone here, just off of the simple fact that he's fast and he does a lot of damage. So that alone, I think, kind of bumps him above everybody in the A tier and puts him comfortably at A+. All right, so going on to the next character is Rangiku. So Rangiku got nerfed in that last patch, but she mainly received buffs as well. The nerf was to her fireball. She can't throw the fireball as much as she wants to before, but some neat tech that you can do is you can always just throw out your lights fireball and you can backstep off of hitting your fireball after doing a combo. So in my opinion, yes, she can't just throw the fireballs out from that distance like over and over the way she was before, but it doesn't really matter given the fact that she has tools to get in close and she can always end her strings over the fireball and backstep and make herself safe. So did she really get nerfed? I don't think so. On paper, yes, but with her buffs being so strong as they were, this character definitely has shot up the tier list in my opinion. I still think that she needs to work a lot for her damage. I mean, this is a typical heavy string into SP2 and it does good damage, but again, this is base Rangiku. Most times you want to be in your awakening. So if I put Rangiku here in awakening, I can show you some of the things she got buffed on. So basically she can combo after her heavy now. She can throw Sig out and continue the combo. I don't know why it didn't work there, but you could usually do like heavy SP2, dash up, do that type of stuff, and then your lights connect right there. So that's just some of the cool stuff they allow her to do now. Her combo extensions are pretty crazy. She can convert off of SP1 now, which is very good. It's actually kind of insane what they gave this character. They also buffed her ash speed, so when she throws the ash out, it follows very fast, and this is very good just for getting some good straight hits, but also just to keep some pressure on the opponent. You know, given all of the buffs she has and the fact that she can SP2 go into a combo, continue a combo, right, and then you could even orange reverse after this, right, if you need to. Like, it's crazy. It opened up a lot of freedom that she has. She already had a good like combo game plan that she wanted to go for. She has decent side steps, decent dashes. Her normals are decent as well. I mean, that's a typical quick range, but she does kind of leap forward with her heavy, which is actually pretty good. And now, given the fact that she can stack, you know, her SP2 with her 6 skill, I mean, she's always been able to do that, but with all of the stacking that you can do now, she does a lot of damage. So Rangiku is one of those characters that you definitely got to be on the lookout for now that she has been buffed. And in my opinion, I think she kind of floats comfortably around, let me see, I would say Rangiku floats roughly around A. Yeah, roughly around A tier. All right, so going on to the next character is Kenpachi. He received a pretty strong buff. He's able to combo off of his special flash now, which is actually very good for just, you know, just keeping up with damage and just applying that pressure out. Now characters actually have to be scared of him just throwing out his special flash. That super armor is no joke, guys. You know, that alone actually just kind of makes him kind of decent to good. It can be sidestep, which is one thing you have to be wary about. But I think Kenpachi is actually pretty good. Now, he doesn't really match up to a lot of the characters in the game, like the higher tiers, because a lot of his pressure can just be either grab or you can just kind of outrange him. Yeah, he has a pretty good heavy range, but Kenpachi at the end of the day is pretty slow. This 6 skill is not good at all. He probably has the worst 6 skill in the entire game. It would be cool if he can like probably cancel out of it or do, you know, do something, man, because as it stands right now, the 6 skill is kind of worthless. But he does have some decent quick range. Actually, is actually pretty good quick range. Like I said before, his heavy is pretty good, and his special flash starts combo. So pretty good character. And one of the best things about Kenpachi is he gets stronger as the game goes on, because eventually you have to take some of this man's Kenpaku, and when you do, you just increase his damage, and he could 2-tap you. You know, he has that Nnoitora type level damage, and it's crazy. It's crazy. So with all of these things in hand, I think I could comfortably say that Kenpachi probably floats around, let me see, maybe A tier. I would say roughly A tier. His problem is, again, is that some of the characters above him, well, every character above him, at least on my tier list so far, can either outrange him, outspeed him, or just straight up get into his space and make him feel uncomfortable with like grabs and things like that. He's honestly a character that's easily played around as well too, but because he gets so strong when you take his Kenpaku, you have to be playing pretty careful because he does a lot of damage, and this character can definitely turn the game on you pretty fast. All right, so next up is Mayuri. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I play Mayuri, so I think I really know what I'm talking about when I say this. Mayuri's buffs were very good for him. This character does a lot of damage now because of the way that his poison scales. Like, the poison builds very fast now on everything. They reduce how fast it goes down when certain combos hit. So for example, when a special flash attack hits, it does take more now. So you know, that was kind of like slight nerfs, but given that his damage is so high and he's able to now combo off of his grab, right? You could do special flash off a grab, go into like resets. It's a lot of crazy stuff you can do. Nemu alone makes this character at least decent, because unblockable, super fast SP2 that, yeah, you can sidestep it and you can flash step it, but a good Mayuri is going to catch you right at the moment where you really can't do nothing about it. So this character is pretty good, y'all. He has setups into his SP1. He has great damage because of the poison, right? All of his damage is unscaled, so he can do like really nasty stuff, like really nasty setups. He doesn't care about taking your Kenpaku early. Let's say he 4-pieces you. He doesn't care about that, because again, all of the extra damage he's getting from his poison, he's still gonna do what he has to do. You know, it doesn't matter how much guts you have. It doesn't matter what your HP values are in this game. Mayuri is going to slam, and he's going to slam hard. And because of that, I think Mayuri honestly deserves to be. I think he deserves to be A. If I were to say he go higher, that'd be just too much. I think he kind of floats around the characters in this realm. I think every character in this realm can give Mayuri a good fight, and vice versa. So overall, I will say Mayuri lands in A tier. All right, so going on to the next character is Kaien. So Kaien actually got nerfed in this last patch. They touched on basically the tracking of his DP super. It's more easily sidestepped now, so that is something that does hurt a bit for him. But overall, this character is still pretty strong. He has a very good 6 skill that buffs all of his normals. He has a very good DP super, great damaging SP2, and he has just generally great normals. I mean, everybody who plays this game knows that this heavy right here, one of the best heavies in the game. It comes out super fast, because it's a heavy and it's catching people a lot off guard. It just, you know, he's able to just get a lot of damage off. This character just does so much damage, you know what I mean? He's probably one of the most honest, I think, you know, higher tier characters. Overall though, I do think that because he's more honest now, and there are characters who basically can do what he can do, but basically better now, he has dropped a little bit. Kaien was in contention for one of the best characters in the game in the last patch, and now he's dropped down a considerable amount. I do think he's still top 10, and with that being said, overall, Kaien probably falls somewhere around, I would say A+ to A. I think with the buffs that the characters have gotten in A, he is probably at the upper echelon of this tier, maybe bottom of A+, but I will just comfortably just place Kaien at the front of A. And yeah, that's it. You know, his damage is stupid, man, and his combos are really good. Fast quicks, fast heavy, saucy combos you can do. You know, this character is insane, and everybody should be playing him. Tosen. Look how they massacred the boy, man. This character, yo, nothing but nerfs, man. I mean, they did buff his counter, so he builds SP faster, but overall, this character has just gotten nerfed, and it sucks too, because Tosen is very fun, guys. Tosen is fun. He has very good normals. As you can see, what is that quick range? There are heavies that probably reach this range, like insane. He has a great heavy reach as well. His heavy reach is actually pretty crazy. His special flash attack is what got nerfed a lot. This character cannot convert off of his special flash attack with his heavies anymore. In order for him to convert, he has to special flash and then dash up and do a light, but that only works on strike back. So it's a little rough for Tosen now. His game plan was a bit easier when he was able to just kind of spam this out. You know, now it's lost its invulnerability, which also sucks. And you know, the biggest war crime with Tosen is between all those nerfs and the small little buff they gave him, they could have buffed some of his damage, man. This character does no damage. This is a heavy attack into SP2, and it may seem like, oh, that's some good damage, but you're spending 100 meter to get something like that, you know? And I know the DP version is better, but there's just some, you know, it's damage in general this character lost, you know? The special flash got gutted. He does have some good saucy movement. He has one of the best back dashes in the game. He has good side steps and a good dash attack too, because his light his dash light goes very far. So he does have merit to him, and at the end of the day, he does have this Bankai. So Tosen's Bankai does blind the opponent, and you can do some saucy stuff with that though. You know, people hear the breaker, right? So they'll know that you're doing that, but you could always switch it up. No, go for the special flash, switch it up with special flash, and then you can sidestep off of that and maybe go for an attack or a grab or something. So he does have sauce now that, you know, some people might not realize, because people do think that Tosen is absolutely terrible, and I do think that he is not as bad as people say, but he also is not good either. So with that being said, I do think that Tosen kind of falls comfortably around A-. He fits this tier with other characters. Rukia has to put a lot of work in order to get her damage and her game plan going. Same with Bankai Ichigo, same with Dangai. You know, all these characters in this tier have to work really hard. Not hard, they have to work hard to get their game plan going, but not as hard as the B tiers. But yeah, that's where Tosen lands. All right, so going on to the next character is Gin. So Gin, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, Gin, yo, this character is insane. Some of the stuff that you can do with him is pretty stupid. Just the dash dancing that he can do, I'm not even doing it correctly, but the Shinzo cancels are disgusting that you can do with him. The buffs they gave him were pretty good. He's now able to probably convert off of a perfect flash step now, and he can get full damage off of his grabs as well. One thing most Gins don't know, or a good amount of Gins I've seen that don't know, is that you can, after grab, you can backstep and get full damage off of his heavy, which is actually pretty cool now that he can do that. This character has very good range and just general movement. It's pretty hard to zone him as well, as he has a very good zoning tool in himself. He also has good damage when he gets his counter off, which most Gins don't happen to go for. But if you don't want to go for your counter, he also has a very good SP2. Now, this SP2 is insane. It's one of the better SP2s. It's almost like a DP, because he kind of does this like little backstep, which makes him safe, and that range on it is insane. So what I mean by that is, if you do heavy, right, and go on the Hakugeki, you can SP2 and that hits. Like, that's crazy. No other character has that in the game right now. And he also has this. Well, so if I have 1000-year blow where Ichigo hit me and I blue reverse, right, I can SP2 and that's gonna work. He's the only character who can do that. So I think those two things, you know, being able to SP2 off a Hakugeki and being able to blue reverse and then SP2, those two things alone makes this character at least decent, because it's kind of like, I wouldn't call it an exploit, but he does have, you know, those two things alone just kind of make him different from every other character. It gives him an option where most other people don't have. And then in evolution, he just gets way better. You know, he gets more damage. That tip range really be hurting, man. That tip, yo, pause. That tip range is insane. Like, Gin is nasty. All of the dash dancing he can do, the side steps, the Shinzo cancels into grab. Like, this character has some really good sauce, you know, and I think a lot of people should be playing him more. They buffed him a lot, and he can really hang with some of the higher tier characters in the game. And with that being said, looking at the tier list, I think I'll comfortably place Gin. I want to put him in A+. I really do, guys. I feel like A is the more safer option. I think against the other characters in this realm, he kind of matches up with them for sure. The characters up here do way too much against him. He fits comfortably around the A tier. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna place him. All right, so going on to the next character is Nell. So not gonna lie, y'all, Nell, she got buffed. She got buffed. I know that sounds crazy, but she was buffed in the last patch. They nerfed her too. They basically nerfed some of her damage when it comes to her combos. So her whole Sero combo, where she, you know, you arms reverse mid combo and do the Sero, has gotten nerfed. But they buffed everything else. Basically, her charge speed is faster. She's able to charge her meter like right after the end of combos. So that's pretty good. But on top of that, you know, just having insane quicks. Because look at this. This is stupid. Look at her dash quick. Like, who made that? Like, this is insane. This character has always been good. She's always had a very good heavy, which looks like it shouldn't even hit from that distance. But she always had the chase mechanic, right? His very good mechanic where she can continue combos using her chase stocks. Just a lot of good things that this character has, and she also builds her fighting spirit faster than everybody else in the game. So she gets her awakening faster than everyone does, but on top of that, she'll also receive sublimation before other people do as well, because she has her awakening before others do. So that's just crazy. And then you go on to awakening, and she has, her lights are stupid. Like, look at this range, and then look at her heavy. Like, she's such a good character. She builds her chase stocks faster in awakening, and she still has some of the best combos in the game. Nell is undoubtedly still top 5. Buffing, you know, she joins the Yama club and the Ulquiorra club low-key, and having some of the best characters in the game being buffed. And because of this fact, I think that Nell is undoubtedly still top 5 in the game. She does have some competition now. There are some very good characters who can kind of contest with what she can do. Mainly Soul Society Ichigo, Hisagi, these characters up here all either can do a 6-piece easily, can match her damage, or also have some kind of range or just BS mechanic that can get around some of her stuff. But she's still very good and deserves this top 5 spot. All right, so going on to the next character is Aizen. Now, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I don't really know too much about Aizen, so I got 6 shot here to kind of do like a quick breakdown on just things generally Aizen, the positives, the negatives, and where I think he should be on the tier list.
Yo, what's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? So I'm here helping my boy on Storm out. So yeah, we gonna talk about Aizen. So Aizen is really, really good because he probably has the best frame data in the game when it comes to his quick attacks. He could backstep off of every single hit. 1, off of 3, off of 1, off of 2. He can even quick step off of the dash attack as well. His dash attack, his back step is also really, really good. His side steps is really, really good as well too. He travels a whole bunch of space on side steps. Same thing with his back dashes. He did get a little nerf this patch when he goes into the cocoon stage. Before, his special flash attack was plus on block. Now is not the case, and that was a little bit over. That was a little bit too much. Now he can still backstep off of it though. He's still safe and he can still backstep. So it's still a good move. Now, when we get to the main core kit of Aizen, right? He has these bars and they fill up quick when you're not moving, as you can see. And when you're moving, it fills up slower. So you want to kind of play very stationary with Aizen, stuff like that. His 6 skill is like an armor move. You can let it go, absorbs the hit. It also builds to his fighting spirit, so if he's facing any type of projectile character, he can easily do this out. Now, facing rushdown characters is a little bit tougher, but it's still an option that you could use. And he does a lot of damage. When he has his spirit meter up past 3, he gets access to Auto 91. And this move is a menace right now. It was before they patched it, and it's way better now. So before, if you was to hit him, right, during this move was going on, it will automatically end. Now, as you see, that's not the case no more, right? Got the dummy to grab. As you see, I can do it again. He goes for a grab, and it still goes through. And it's kind of crazy. And as you can see, look at the damage you get from this, right? Even though this is like non-awakened Ichigo, stuff like that. But before, this would have stopped it. Now that's not the case no more. And then he can get a combo off.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's kind of ridiculous now. So you could kind of like do this up close if your opponent lets you do it, and then they really can't do nothing. And they try to do anything. Even with they got the perfect flash step, but then you already know Aizen could pop this during perfect flash steps now, and they changed the frame data when it comes to that too now. When you're countering an opponent, right, and you see the opponent's going to attack back or anything like that, you can always pop in SP1 in between and punish their attempt to punish you and go off the damage. Do combos like that, even though I messed up the combo, but you get the point. He does a lot of damage. And then when you pressuring your opponent up close, right, and you know your opponent's going to do a counter attack, you could do stuff like this. To punish their counter attack. Look at the damage. combos like this. And I messed up the combo, but you get the point. You do a lot of damage. And yeah, Aizen is a really good character in this game. Really good frame data. If you're able, all you have to do is get around his movement, because walking wise, as you see, he move real slow. So you got to get used to just moving in and out with the dash and stuff like that. But once you get used to that movement, you know how to play. He has really good buttons, as you see. His quick attack, really long range. He could snipe people out from approaching very easily. Same thing with his flash attack, as you can see. That hitbox is like real phantom. As you see, the hitbox is that purple trail. So he has very long reach, right? And with all the other defensive tools that he has, especially with the buff to his Hado 91, that makes him a really good character. And he's towards the top, specifically off of the Hado 91 change. That Hado 91 change, you can kind of get away with spamming it now, unless your opponent perfect flash does. But then again, if you're ready for the perfect flash step, you could do his SP1, and then yeah. So Aizen's a problem in this game, and yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about for Aizen.
Okay, great. Nah, sounds good. And you know, I appreciate Six Shot for doing that breakdown. With all that being said, I do think that Aizen could comfortably, I'll probably go into A+ or S with all of those changes. The Senjuku Taiho change in general was actually pretty insane. I didn't know about that, so that makes me want to change the placement on the tier list to probably S, up there with like Starrk and Yama. It's kind of weird though, because it's like they don't know what to really do with Aizen. You know, he keeps jumping around. You know, I thought he was kind of like decent to high. Now he's insane with that Senjuku Taiho change. So I'll probably put him roughly around A+ to S, kind of probably right smack dab in the middle, but I'll leave him right here for now.
All right, so the next character we got is Harribel, and Harribel, she got nerfed, but for the most part, she's still a really good character. She still has her insane range. She still has her very safe frame data, where she could basically backstep off of every single thing. 1 hit, backstep. 2 hit, backstep. 3 hits, backstep. And then 2 hits into a sig into light is a frame trap. Before you used to get a combo. I don't think, you still get the combo as well too, so that's really good. Her single flash attack is safe as well, and this is always the case, and nothing changed about that. The only bad thing that they did about her is this is unsafe now. So you're not going to be using this for pressure, for guard break situations no more. It could be used for a frame trap situation though, where if you feel like your opponent is going to attack right there, you want to like stagger and try to grab, they beat you out, they keep attacking after the second one. You can do something like that. But it is very risky because it is unsafe, so you gotta be just very careful about that. But if you do get hits off, you still want to go for stuff like this. She still has this pressure right here for damage. She still has the loops and stuff like that. She still has basically everything that made her an S tier character in the last batch. The only thing is this is unsafe now, so that hurts. The overall change to the guard damage system hurts her a little bit as well. She still could do a lot of guard damage, but since guard damage in general it got buffed, it's harder to guard break, so that kind of hurts her a little bit. But at the end of the day, she's still a really good character. She still has access to basically all her tools. The only thing you cannot really spam no more is this on block. But besides that, you can still play her the same type of way and you get really good results with her.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks for the breakdown. Yeah, so overall, I would say with everything that Six Shot has said, and from my own personal, you know, from what I've seen, I'm starting to think that Harribel deserves to be an A+. A lot of the frame trap sig thing, I didn't even know about that. That's actually pretty insane. On top of her heavy range and her insane DP super damage and her loops that she can do, Harribel is still a threat. Yeah, even though they buffed guards, like this character is still pretty good. Her base kit in general was already pretty nice, so just that alone on top of the changes is pretty good. All right, so going on to the next character is Starrk. Now the community knows how impressive this character is. One of the most frustrating characters to fight in the game currently. His wolf mechanic just lets him do so much. They gave him so much when it comes to the buffs for this character. I mean, even just look at this. I'm gonna throw the wolf out, and look, I got grabbed, and it still goes through. Like, the fact that that's even allowed is so stupid. This character warps the game around his playstyle. He gets a free, basically he gets a free 6-piece Kenpaku. As long as he has enough lives, he's always gonna get that Kenpaku off. So it's crazy, yo. This character is insane. People already know what it is. I think unfortunately they took his wolf mechanic and just went a little too far. Being able to essentially do, like, you know, the infinite, I'm pretty sure I can do it right now. It's not really too hard to do. You can dash forward and you could honestly dash forward and continue that combo over and over. I know I dropped it right there, but you can literally do that combo over and over. That combo links into a bunch of stuff, and you're able to even do heavies into SP2 and then dash up and continue and do the same thing. So as long as you have meter with this character, you don't have to spend your Kenpaku to revive your wolves, and your wolves alone are just crazy good range tools that even if they flash step, the wolves will still come back and follow them. If the opponent blocks this, you get your wolves back, which is also insane. And then even on top of that, this character's base form is insane. You guys know how it is to fight a Starrk. You got to chase him down, you gotta force him out, and then if he's doing good against you, or even if you are pressuring him, he can always transform early and then get access to one of the best tools in the game right now. So I really didn't want to go too in depth on why Starrk is good. Everybody knows why this character is good. Everybody understands the ins and outs of this character and how busted his 6 skill is. Now, I kind of was able to get some information from Potato, who is one of the best Starrk players. He's a top player who basically made this chart, this Starrk matchup chart. If you pay attention and you look at the top people, right, the top characters that have a bad matchup against Starrk, these are all some of the best characters in the game. Look at it. You got Shunsui, you have Soul Society Ichigo, Nnoitora, you have Hisagi, Shunsui, Aizen, Ulquiorra. All these characters here are at the very least A and higher. At the very least. And only one of them, at least in my opinion, is really A tier. The rest of these characters are A+ or even S. So he really only has a negative matchup or even matchup to other good characters, and he completely demolishes the rest of the cast, according to this one player. But you know, this player has pretty good credence when it comes to the community. So that alone just can kind of tell you where this character is. I'm undoubtedly taking Starrk, and I'm putting him in S tier. You know, this character is insane. Now, going on to the next character is Ulquiorra. This character is one of the best characters in the game. He got buffed. He's a part of the group of characters that got buffed, even though they were already pretty good. They also nerfed him, but in my opinion, overall, this character has received a buff. He can now more freely shoot out Ceros because as he evolves, he takes less damage from the Ceros shot. Ceros are also safe on block. So if you find yourself in a situation where you did your heavies, you can always end the combo off with Ceros and you are good. Ulquiorra also has one of the best normals in the game. His normal has decent range, but he's able to do things like this, right? Normal 1, and you guys know 1000 Year Blood War, he has a pretty fast quick attack. He's able to throw out one light and beat him out with a grab. Like, his lights are insane, not to mention his dash light. Like the hitbox there is a bit deceiving, but the tip of it still hits, and it's actually pretty crazy. Even if you start to try to sidestep Ulquiorra's stuff, his heavy attack has pretty good range on it, and it catches sidesteps. Honestly, guys, I don't know what they doing buffing this character. You know, he has a pretty good SP1 super that lets him end combos off with good damage. He has an SP2 that lets him heal up a lot of health, and when you pair that with White Reverse, you guys can see that health jumping up right now. It's insane. And then on top of that, this man has a neutral skip special flash attack that is safe on block if you cancel it with the Cero. If you hit this with strike back, you're able to combo without having to use the Cero, and it's just a good tool to just fly in and catch up with your opponent. You know, whenever you fight Ulquiorra, you always got to be a little wary of him either jumping in with his dash or flying in with his special flash. Some of the best you know, normals, movement, insane character across the board. And when you evolve with him, he only gets better. Now,
In prison.
his Segunda Etapa is really the awakening that you want to go for. They made it easier for him to reach that point. So overall, this character just jumps higher and higher as he continues to evolve. But if I can get Segunda here by going straight into Reawakening, I can show you some of the most broken stuff that this character can do. If I show you this quick range, look at this. What is this? What is this quick range? What is that? What is this? This doesn't make any sense. Look at his heavy range. He can just throw this out. And it connect on strike back too. The second one connects. Insane, yo. This character can do so much. He's super fast. Special flash attack is still crazy fast. He has insane long combos. He because he's in Reawakening, right? His damage is just higher in general. If you guys have not picked up Ulquiorra or don't know what he can do, this character is definitely one of the best in the game, and undoubtedly A+, possibly could even push S tier in my opinion. I think even a lot of the A+ tiers can kind of push that S. Some of them kind of like leaking into that S tier, but Ulquiorra definitely fits comfortably in the A+ tier. So next up we have Nnoitora. Now Nnoitora, I have been convinced, man. I have seen the light. I've faced so many good Nnoitoras recently. I have definitely seen what this character can do and have bumped him up the tier list. This character is honestly, he's a huge threat now. Now, one of the things that make this character very good is that his side steps, very good. One of the best side steps in the game. And it's very good for him to have that too, because his backstep is absolutely abysmal. His dash forward is pretty good, but the reason why these steps are very important for him is because of his dash quick attack. He has a very good dash quick that basically enacts his game plan. He wants to pull opponents close in on him. He wants to mix things up by throwing lights out, by doing the special flash attack. There's a lot of cool things that this character can do. And it really revolves around his movement, with sidestepping, with dashing forward, with if you see people are sidestepping your dash quick, right? His heavy is very good at catching sidesteps, you know, so he has honestly an answer for a lot of the things that, you know, a lot of his counterplay, right? But then on top of that, they buffed this character even more. They let him get his hero at the end of doing a combo, so now he has even more armor. Like he has armor now, right? He has many ways to even get it at the end of combos now, so he can get at the end of quicks, at the end of heavies, or even just in situations where he Hakugekis you away and then he gets his hero. Now Nnoitora is one of those characters where if you get close on him and you pressure him out, you can kind of keep him from behind, but he does have one of the best tools in the game at kind of keeping the opponent at bay, and you have to end up playing his game. Now what I mean by that is, if I go into Starrk, right, and I change my Kenpachi to, I think it's under 4 and under, right, I gain 2 extra arms. Now with those 2 extra arms, Nnoitora now does way more damage. I'm talking like 2 heavies. Look at that. Now granted, 1000-year Blood War Ichigo is not in the state that he should be. I'll put him into Awakening here, right? But now, matter of fact, let me set his Keycon channel all the way up. Where's the Keycon? There we go. I can set the Keycon channel all the way up. Now he's a spirit drop. Look how much this does. This still does insane damage. That's 1 heavy. That's not even trying to do Hakugeki into some kind of cancel, right? Like it's insane, right? So if you try to 5-piece this character, which most people like to do, you want to 5-piece your opponent, you're giving him arms. If you choose to 4-piece this character, you now have to soul break him, but it's hard to soul break Nnoitora. He has good defense, like his HP values are pretty good. It's hard to get in close on him because he's constantly sidestepping, pulling you into his range, doing things like this. He could even orange reverse that and then go into heavies. It's so much that this character can do. He can even drag you in and then use his SP2, right? You have to time it now better, because before it used to work a little bit better, but they changed some properties on it. But overall, this character is just gotten way better. He can now properly combo off of his grabs, so that's another buff that he's gotten. His heavy is safe, so if he just throws his heavy out, you can't punish it like a lot of other characters can. Nnoitora is undoubtedly A+. Definitely A+ character. I think he could possibly even go up to S now. Look at this A+ getting real filled up, man. This is insane. Might have to move some of these characters up, but as it stands right now, I do think that he's A+. I think the characters in this role can kind of give him a run for his money. They can either even up with him, or some might even have like some positives against him. But definitely Starrk and Yama have a very good matchup into Nnoitora, which is why I think those two characters kind of eclipse everybody else in this A+ tier. I could be wrong. Again, guys, this is my opinion on how I feel about these characters. But like I said before, the people in this A+ territory can kind of leak up into S tier, because again, these characters all have some kind of busted mechanic or something really good about them. But yeah, let's go on to the next character. Now, going over Grimmjow. Grimmjow is an interesting character. He got nerfed, but I still think there is some merit to his character. He can still be played in a decent to great way. I think that they went a little too far with the nerf. So he used to be able to charge up his 6th skill, right? As soon as he gets his annihilation state, he used to be able to combo off of his special flash attack. They took that away. Now, a lot of people who play Grimmjow are mad about that. He cannot do this anymore and be able to combo. Even on Strike Back, it still doesn't let him combo. I agree with that change, unfortunately, because it was a bit oppressive to deal with Grimmjow and some of the stuff that he can do. But I do think they should kind of tone back with some of the other changes that they've done. There's no reason as to why, when you're using your combos, right, in decimation state, you're taking a lot of damage when you do your combos in decimation state. That's one of the biggest negatives for Grimmjow. You can't really look past the fact that this character does have a lot of plus frames when he is in this state. He is able to combo the special flash attack when he's in decimation, so that is pretty cool. But just in general, Grimmjow has really good, he has really good normals. He has pretty decent movement, and he has a pretty good dash attack where he can dash in and then go for a grab right after when they're blocking. So it is something to watch out for when you're playing against this character. Overall, Grimmjow, he got nerfed, he did, and I don't think he is as strong as he used to be, right? Because the nerfs hurt pretty bad, but I don't also think he's as bad as people say. You know, there is some merit to playing this character. At the end of the day, he is a rush down character who has a unblockable SP1 in his decimation state. He does a lot of damage, and even though he does take a lot of damage himself when he's in decimation, if this character is able to get one good heavy on you, like later in the game, you're cooked. Like, you have to be real careful when fighting against Grimmjow. So with all those things in mind, I do think that Grimmjow will probably end up floating around maybe A- to A. I think there is merit to playing this character, but the nerfs do hurt pretty bad. So I will place him around the A- tier. Now, going on to one of the biggest winners of patch 1.10 is Mr. Grants. Now, they did change this character a bit. He is very weak in his base form still. They took out that exploit he could do, where he could do his flash step combo and continue the combo. I'm glad they took that out, because that was an exploit that a lot of people were comfortable using. But they did give him some cool sauce, man. So the biggest thing I would say about Grants is he is susceptible to just being kind of ran down in his base form, because this version of Grants is not really good at all. But he starts to cook once he starts getting into Awakening. In Awakening, this character has some of the best normals. As you can see, this quick attack has some great range to it, and his heavy has some good range. He can kind of like swing himself in and get close enough to hit. And look at that distance. I don't think there's many heavies that can even contest that range. And on top of that, One thing a lot of people don't know is he can like do a dash attack and go straight into Sig, and that actually works. It's actually pretty hard to react to. You have to know that it's coming to react to that. Now let's kind of touch on some of the other things that the patch did for this character. It's harder for him to reach level 3 now, but at level 2 he is a way stronger character now. He's able to combo off of his special flash and go into a full heavy string, so he can do something like this, right? Heavy, SP2, and then go back into special flash, and then go back into heavies. That alone just does a lot of damage. This character is way saucier now that he can link those kind of things together. And just the fact that the special flash attack has been buffed like that, you can really just throw this out. Like, you can do 2 of these in a row before somebody could even react. The fact that you can do that over and over, it's honestly kind of funny that they even gave him something like that. And you can combo that off of grab as well. So it's actually pretty cool that they made Grants good. I'm glad that they buffed him the way that they did. Unfortunately, because he is so weak before he can get to his research level 2, right? I don't think that he is super good. I think he kind of floats around that kind of like A- tier, like Rukia does, like Grimmjow does, like Bankai Ichigo. He has to work hard to reach the state where he's a good character, right? Because if you're going against somebody good, they're gonna know to attack you out of doing your 6 still. They're gonna know what you're going for in the matchup, right? So this character has to work harder than others, and it kind of fits the A- tier. But I'm gonna be real with you guys, there's a lot of sauce that this character can do, and if you have some really good character knowledge on him, you can honestly cook with him. All right, now going on to our final character, 1000-Year Blood War Ichigo has been released. He's in the game, and he's pretty good. He's a pretty good character. So they made him kind of like a stance character where you use your 6 skill to continue your combo. So you can do something like this and go into your lights. The one thing I will say about this character is he kind of feels as if he is one of the best rushdown characters in the game, but he does feel as if he's just a strike throw monster. That's all it really is with him. Like, because at the end of all of his pressure, right, he's either gonna go for a grab, he's either gonna bait out your grab by like you know, doing some type of backstep and then punishing with heavy, or he's going to just keep staying in your face and just keep throwing out his superior lights. This character is very good. He has one of the fastest quicks in the game. His heavy doesn't really have much range, but when he does hit you, he does a lot of damage, and he's able to follow up with his stances. He has multiple things he can do out of the stance. He could even like do like a pump fake, which is pretty cool, and he has a decent projectile as well. This character can do a lot, and he only gets stronger in his awakening. So his awakening just increases his combo damage. To be honest, he can start doing some really cool stuff. As you can see, the heavy starts doing way more damage, something like that. Orange reverse, then you can go, oh, I messed that up, but after you orange reverse, you could do Sig into triangle and then continue the combo again after that. This character does a lot of damage. He's very fast, very good multi-hitting moves that track like side steps and back steps as well, and he has pretty good supers. He can end his combos off with SP1, which does a pretty decent amount of damage, and he has a pretty strong DP that can be comboed and at the end of one of his strongest strings. So not gonna lie, y'all, 1000-Year Blood War Ichigo is a very good character. They cooked with this DLC, and I'm pretty excited to see what else they do with the other characters in this game, given what they did with him. The one thing I will say that's negative about this character that doesn't really push him over the edge is he is a little bit honest. That's the thing about him. He's honest in the same way that Kaien is, where there's nothing really too crazy about him. He doesn't necessarily have a gimmick that outshines what everybody else can do. He just is a solid character, to be honest. Like, solid character all around. The worst move I would say he has is his special flash attack, but again, you know, if it hits, you are able to continue a combo and go crazy with that. But overall, I would say 1000-Year Blood War Ichigo is a successful DLC character. With everything in mind, I will say he is probably gonna land around the A tier. I don't think he can hang with the characters up here. He can fight them, but I don't think he wins the matchup. And I think he's better suited to stay in the range of like the Kaiens, the Gins, the Chads, you know, things like that. But yeah, guys, this is my tier list. Overall, I play the game a lot. I play a lot of different people who are very good with their characters. This is just my opinion. If you guys don't agree, that's cool. Go straight into the comments and let me know why you don't agree. I know some of the picks here are definitely might be some hot takes. You know, I do, looking at the tier list now, I can see some characters possibly being moved around slightly. I honestly wanted to move Tosen up a little bit more, but I know that might be some, you know, recency bias given that I've been playing him a lot. But the thing about this game is the characters are balanced for the most part. I mean, you have some egregious people like Starrk and Yama, you know, Aizen with some of the stupid stuff he can do. But for the most part, the fact that I feel comfortable putting so many characters in the A tier, right? And they're all not really far from each other. Because, for example, right, Tosen has a pretty good matchup against Starrk. You know, that's a matchup that he can win. You know, his DP super, his counter does really well against Starrk. You know, and Starrk is one of the best characters in the game. So the fact that you can pick an A- tier and go against a S tier, someone who's 3 tiers above him, and he can do decent against, it shows that there is decent merit to this game's balancing. And overall, I think Samsoft did a pretty good job with this game when it comes to like character designs and how they chose to make the characters fight. Now, when it comes to general balancing, there's a couple things we need fixed, but overall, I think this is where the tier list will fall around. If you guys disagree, let me know. If you guys agree, let me go. If you guys enjoyed the content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Catch you guys later. Peace out.